Good evening, folks. Good evening. How are you this evening? I hope that you are really, really well. Look how colourful my whole screen looks with the pink at the bottom and all the colours at the top. I am very colourful when I show up, aren't I? And I've got the whole, what was that 70s program called? Genie or something. We Love Genie. The whole thingy going on with the hair tonight. Tidied myself up for you tonight, which is hard work at the minute with all the work that's happening here at the Art Bank. Just had the busiest weekend ever. Thank goodness I've got a good team to come in and help and support me with that work here, as well as my fantastic online team. So that means everything to me, being surrounded by most amazing team members. So I hope you're doing really well. Hope the weather's good where you are. Tell me where you're watching from. And let me know if you're watching live or watching on replay. And please interact and ask questions in the comments. Let's make this a really good live, because I've got so much to tell you in this live, as well as delivering some training for you and delivering the live for you. I've got so much happening in the next few weeks that I can't wait to tell you about. It's big stuff, really exciting stuff. So first things first, for those of you that don't know me, that are dropping on, hey, I'm Mandy Nicholson, if you couldn't tell by all the branding, and I am the Creative Genius Consultant. I'm an artist, I'm an author, and I help creative women to launch, grow, and scale their businesses and make more money. And every week I show up here with something for you that can help to make you think, to move you forward in your business, or to address some of the things that may be holding you back. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight, because what I find in creative women a hell of a lot is that they dim their brilliance. And I wanted to ask the question tonight, why are you dimming your brilliance? I wrote a blog about this quite some time ago, and I've been trawling through some of my old blogs, because honestly, if you go to my website, mandynicholson.co.uk, I think there's something like 53 blogs on there. So there's like a whole novel worth of my wacky ideas and blogs that I've been writing over the last few years. And I was using some of the quotes from these blogs in my new journal and came across this one. And I thought that's a great topic to be talking about, particularly with where we're at the moment. Coming out of, we're not really even coming out of COVID. I think we've still got a hell of a long way to go in order to get the economy back on its feet. But I think we also have a huge responsibility to get the economy back on its feet, particularly as women in business. So I thought I'd kind of bring this up tonight and talk about this one, because what I find is in creative women that they feel shrunk. They may not be shrunk inside. They are still this wonderful bright light of power filled with talent and creativity, but they may feel shrunk. And there are 3 R's, 3 reasons, 3 R's as to why we shrink ourselves as women, as well as creative women. And I wanted to bring them to the table tonight and just talk about them, because historically women have been shrunk in every way. And it's because of power and money, masculinity, testosterone. I'm not going to get too much into that, but there are reasons. One of the reasons is relationships. The first R of the 3 R's is relationships. And I don't just mean romantic relationships. I mean all relationships in our lives. If you think back to parents are, some parents are great, fantastic, free spirits, allow you to be you. A lot of parents want to mold you into what they think you should do, which may not be the actual thing that you want to do. And they're very risk averse, which is one of the other R's in this that I'm going to be talking about tonight. Keeping you safe, instead of allowing you to fall, trying to get you to avoid doing the thing so that you don't fall. And I think we've got more risk averse, and that comes through relationships. So A lot of women end up in relationships with men that reflect the relationship that they have with their parents or key influences in their lives. And many key influences in your life may want you to be a version of them rather than this amazing version of you. And you will find that all around. And some of you will be already, your brains will be ticking over thinking about relationships where you have not necessarily been controlled, possibly coerced, maybe influenced to be or do something that wasn't actually at the heart of what you wanted to do or who you wanted to be. Because the conversations that I have with so many women in so many different walks of life are that I wish I'd done this sooner, wish I'd followed my heart, I wish I hadn't listened to, I wish I hadn't been influenced by. Those are the types of conversations that I have all of the time, particularly with the creative women in my world and that I work with. So the first R is relationships. We are influenced by our relationship with our parents, our siblings, cousins, extended family, friends in the schooling system. All of these people have expectations of us of what they think we should be or do. Teachers, college tutors, throughout life, we are being steered. Okay, and we are being steered in a direction that isn't necessarily the direction that we want to go personally. And so many women end up off track, completely off track to what it is. So you may have wanted to be a singer-songwriter and you were coerced into doing something more academic to get the proper job. Yeah, you may have wanted to be an artist. You could have been wanted to be anything, but you've ended up. And then motherhood might have interrupted you. And those relationships will have steered you in a different direction. Now, I'm not saying all of these relationships are bad. Absolutely not. Many of these relationships would be good and nurturing, but people still have expectations of us as women. They have throughout history, and they always will have. Our job is to be able to find the strength and the courage to stand up against the tide, if you like, the tidal wave of expectations that is being washed over us, and to be able to say, no, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do. I would really appreciate your support. And that takes courage and it takes confidence and it takes a lot. And that, whenever you don't do that, that is what I'm talking about when I say dimming you. You dim yourself every time you don't say, no, that's not what I want to do. You dim yourself every time that you are steered in a direction or influenced to do a certain thing a certain way. And we don't want to be dimming ourselves. We want to be lighting the light, making it brighter, turning up the switch, not turning down the dimmer switch. So the second thing that actually can dim us as individuals is responsibility, because responsibility weighs heavy on us, doesn't it? The responsibility of parenthood, responsibility to friends and family, extended friends and family, and how we feel. And that sometimes how we feel and how responsible we feel can hold us back from putting ourselves at the top of the list, which is where we should always be. I'm going to let you into a little secret here. You should always be at the top of the list. You are absolutely the most important person in your life, because only you can make the decisions that you really, truly want and desire. And if you don't make those decisions because you feel weighted down by responsibility for your children, for, your elderly parents, for society, for whatever it is that you feel responsibility for, then actually you're not serving any of those people well, because you're not serving yourself well. So one of the things that I want you to think about tonight is putting yourself well and truly at the top of that list. You are the number one priority in your life. And don't be dimmed by the weight of responsibility, because at the end of the day, whatever you feel responsible for, nothing will disintegrate if you don't do it at the level that you're doing now. If you look after yourself first and you follow your dreams first, you're not going to be any worse of a parent. You're not going to be any worse of a friend. You'll be better because you'll be looking after yourself really, really well. And that's important. That's about turning up the dimmer switch, not the dinner switch. That was a psychological shift, wasn't it? The dimmer switch, and not turning down the dimmer switch. And then the third thing that really does end up dimming us is risk avoidance. Risk avoidance I've been that parent myself when I've looked and seen the possible hazards and risks ahead of my child as they're running in a certain direction and wanted to stop them rather than let them fall over and cut their knee or bang their head or whatever. Of course, we want to keep them safe, but then do they ever learn? That's the question. And actually, I remember when I was a kid, and I used to go out at 9 o'clock in the morning and come in at 7 o'clock at night, and I'd be out raking the streets all day. My parents didn't know where I was. There was no mobile phones. There was no way of communicating with me. I was just out and doing whatever it was I was doing, riding ponies and climbing up trees and doing loads of things that would have terrified me if my kids were doing them these days. And I think we've become like really, really risk aware and avoiding risk instead of allowing people to make their mistakes, learn from them quickly, and be able to center themselves. And I think it becomes this thing. The 3 R's became, like I say, this blog, I think I wrote it about a year ago, and it was something I was thinking about at the time, is that we are completely dimmed by all of these things that exist in our life or that we create in our lives. And it's time for us to actually make that light really bright again and make decisions with confidence that put us at the top of the list. Make decisions that with confidence that tell the people around us that we are prepared to put ourselves first. Now, it's funny because as I was reading back the blog and I was thinking about this, I was thinking, isn't it really strange that I sometimes don't connect the dots with things when I'm doing them, but the dots are there already to be connected. So when I painted this, I haven't got the picture of the painting. When I painted this in 2019, this painting, Let Her Rise. Okay, so that's on the front of my book cover, and it's one of my paintings, and I sell prints of it. It's my most popular image. When I painted it, the story was that, we are powerful, not to be dimmed. We are powerful women. And what holds us back in life are relationships. So things like religion and grief and marriage and children hold us back. But actually, when we tell people we're going to rise, are they pulling or are they pushing? Because actually, the people around us that we think hold us back can be our biggest supporters when we tell them we're going to rise and when we decide to put ourselves first. So this is who I want you to be. This fiery lady on the front of my book here, I want you to be her. So I painted that in 2019, a long time before I wrote that blog. I wrote the story, The Life I Won, which is about taking my power back and rising despite a series of horrible things that happened to me in my life. And actually, the painting, the book, the blog, this live, there's possibly even, 2.5 years in between all of those things happening, but they are connected in their messaging. And the connection of the messaging is when you decide to put yourself first and take your power back and undim yourself, you can do anything. So since 2019, I have launched my creative business. That creative business where you can't make any money as a creative, and I'm making money. I've got a 3-book deal with Austin Macaulay Publishers. I've got 11 income streams into my business that are all making me money. I'm speaking next Monday at a huge event, Entrepreneursity, Freshers Week, in front of thousands of people. I am speaking on Fox TV at the end of September. I am being interviewed on Fox TV at the end of September with a 90 million viewership, folks. And who knows what else will come up. I've just been nominated for a Mums in Business award for Coach of the Year. I have not dimmed my brilliance for several years now, but certainly for the last 2.5 years. And I've connected the dots in all of my messaging. So whether you read my book, whether you look at my paintings, whether you watch this live, whether you read my blogs and look at my website, the message is crystal clear. Don't let the things that surround you, the relationships, the weight of responsibility, risk avoidance hold you back from being this brilliant light that you are, because you are. And you might be sitting there going, but that's okay for you, Mandy. It's okay for you to say that because you're really confident and you're this and you're that. I've got a million reasons to be none of the above. Believe me, read my story. I've put the link in the comments. Read my story, The Life I Won. Because in 2009, I had nothing. I had nothing. I was equal to the lower echelons of society. I was living in a council house. I had no money. I had no job. I was bankrupt. I had a crappy, I had a crappy little Suzuki Swift, a green one, but it was brilliant. It got me everywhere and never broke down for about 3 years. It was the best car I ever had. It was tiny, but it was one of the best cars I ever had. And I only paid £700 for it because I wasn't allowed one over the value of £1,000 when I was bankrupt. So it's not that long ago I was bankrupt. I had nothing. And it took resilience and it took all of the things that I'm talking about for me to rebuild my life. And relationships had held me back. I'd been with men that had not wanted me to do things, had not wanted me to do the degrees I was doing, had not wanted me to be a store manager with Summerfield and be promoted and move all around the country. They wanted to hold me back. And the reason I've had 3 failed marriages behind me, because I do make a joke about this. I do say, I am better at picking staff than I am at picking husbands. But the reason I've got 3 failed marriages is I refused to be held back in those relationships. And I was happier to end them than I was to keep going and be held back and dimmed. Now that takes courage. It really does. And it meant that I've been divorced 3 times. And I don't care if I'm a statistic, and I don't care if people judge me for that. I don't care if I'm judged for being married 4 times. I don't care if I'm judged for being bankrupt. I don't care if I'm being judged for failure. I don't care if you judge me for being overweight. I don't care what you judge me for. You're not me. Actually, I bring something good to this world. I bring change to this world. I bring support to this world, and I change the lives of other people. And I do it authentically, honestly, and I think quite humbly, even though I'll stand up and say, I know I'm good at what I do. I don't think I do it in a really big-headed type of way. So this is what I want for you, because actually you are packed, absolutely jam-packed full of talent and genius and brilliance that does not deserve to be dimmed. So that was my message for tonight, and it was prompted by me creating a new product. So I'm creating a new journal. It's really exciting. I'm going to let you in for a little secret. See this? Let Her Rise, the painting. I am creating a range of products based on that called Let Her Rise. It's going to be the Let Her Rise year planner, journal, and notebook that you'll be able to buy on Amazon in the lead up to Christmas. Really excited to be doing it. I'm using all my original quotes in the journal. It's a very special journal. It's called a QPA journal. You'll find out more about that as we move forward. And the year planner takes out all of the bumf and all of the rubbish that nobody uses and puts the important stuff in. So I'm sort of throwing my mark in there and saying, I'm going to use that Let Her Rise, because it's a really big symbol, isn't it? I want brilliance out there, shining bright for every single woman that I come across. And I will touch them in any way possible, not physically, but in any way possible with my products and services to help them feel like they are powerful, like you are powerful, and like that you can do it. Because honestly, if I can be speaking in front of thousands of people next Monday and then going on TV, I'm going on the telly. I'm going on the telly in Miami, in Florida. I'm not actually physically going to Miami, in Florida. I'm doing it on Zoom because I can't make the trip to Miami, in Florida for personal reasons and obviously business reasons because I've got a lot going on here at the Art Bank. So I'm doing the interview on Zoom, which is just as good as being there these days. But I'm on the telly, folks. I'm on the telly. So I'm really proud of those achievements in the last 2.5 years. And if I can do that in 2.5 years, there's not one single one of you out there that can't do the same as me, because I am just a normal bird from Manchester who happens to be quite good at painting and quite good at learning new stuff. So that's my message for tonight. Thank you for sticking with me. If you've stuck with me through this, well done to you, listening to me bang on about the 3 R's and your brilliance. But I hope I've convinced you that you have something really special. And stick with me over the next few weeks because there's so much happening. I'm going to be everywhere. You are going to be sick of me by the end of September. You are really going to be like, that Mandy Nicholson, she's a pain in the backside. She's just everywhere. Good. That's what I want. That's what we all want, because I'll be there reminding you how good you are. So thank you for watching. If you stuck with it, I will be here next Tuesday night debriefing you on how my presentation at Entrepreneurcity went. I've been figuring out today how to live stream Zoom into a group so that I don't look like a plonker, and I've sussed that out today. So all should go well, touch wood, hoping that the tech doesn't let me down. So everything should go well, and I'll debrief you next Tuesday night, let you know how it all went, and maybe next Tuesday night I'll learn how to live stream elsewhere and share some snippets with you. So thank you for watching. I will see you all same time, same place next week. Go shine bright, everybody. Go shine bright.